But yeah, if you haven't seen the game in a while, like obviously a lot of visual stuff. But the main thing which I was working on before Christmas was my new UI. Readables got completely overhauled, so whenever you read something now, it opens up like this new window, so you can actually like go through it and read what's on the
Oh,
thing.
wow.
You can support me on Patreon as well if you wish at Hill4 Games.
Hello, welcome to the Polygon Forest podcast. I am Chris Jarvis, indie game developer, and I'm joined by the other indie game developer, Vin Hill.
Hello there.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New
Year
Year.
as well.
Merry Christmas, all that sort of good stuff. Hope you're all full and
Yeah.
hungover and
all the loveliness. New year, new me.
hope you all like enjoy your gym subscriptions for 3 days because you guys are terrible at that. But yeah.
And we're going to carry on this year as we ended last year, talking about video games.
Oh yeah.
This week it's your game though, Vin. We're going to talk about Long Gone, and there's been a fair amount of work happened over the Christmas break, I believe.
Fair amount is an understatement and overstatement at the same time. Yeah, a lot of work got done, but it's not all like flashy stuff. It's stuff which seems super simple and easy to make and things like that, and then you get into the weeds on it, you're like, okay, that's a hell of a ton of work, but to the end user, it's just like, yeah, this isn't anything new. What are you doing? But game developers will look at me and be like, okay, I know what's up. But
well, even then, you were saying that even then, I think you didn't get as much credit as you were after about these the draws.
Goddamn draws, yeah, the draws. But yeah, anyway, I probably should have cracked on.
Show don't tell. Yeah,
show don't tell, all that sort of good stuff. So I'll share my screen for you. You can see what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this might be a little bit choppy to you, but on my
It'll
screen,
be smooth.
It'll be super smooth on my screen, so that's all that really matters. Doesn't matter what you see. But
I'll pretend it's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. Trust me, it's amazing. But yeah, if you haven't seen the game in a while, like obviously a lot of visual stuff.
It's looking new. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got the house is pretty much
the things on the door. They're not white anymore.
Oh yeah, it's
They're
like
wood coloured.
It's actually wood coloured and stuff, which is. Yeah, it feels nice to get like the visual side of the game sort of done. But the main thing which I was working on before Christmas was my new UI, all of this sort of stuff, which is actually really skewed in the current stream. Let me get this looking right because it'll drive me insane if people.
Oh, it'll pop out.
Yeah.
Hold, drop, and back. A claw hammer, good for hammering nails.
Ignore like the
text.
I
suppose
it's awful. For now, anyway, it's fun. It does its job, but it's not like Shakespeare. You know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, yeah. So I've reconfigured the windows so people can actually see the UX because it was sort of hanging over the edge of the thing. But yeah, you can. I'm gonna go and collect a couple of things first, so
we can see what's in the bag. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. One thing at a time, basically, right? So first thing is readables got completely overhauled. So whenever you read something now, it opens up like this new window, so you can actually like go through it and read what's on the thing.
Wow!
You can exit out of that, and then that automatically gets put into your inventory if it's a readable, because readables are going to be infinite in the game. So if you pick something up that's readable, it automatically goes into your bag and it's there forever. So
it's there forever.
But normal items are consumable in that you have to manage your inventory a little bit more. So ignore like the debug cubes at the back over here for the moment. But
I thought it was like a blue tub.
No, nothing like that. So there's like an evacuation notice over here talking about like, you should leave and all that sort of shit. Blah, 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 blah. Yep. And he has little quips to say. But yeah, so back to the inventory. So I've got my readables, I've got my inventory now, so there's these sorts of things that you can have in here, which is great. On the readable section, the readables like pop up a little bit. Got a bit of a jazzy animation that come in. I've been debating about if I should have this for the main items as well. had a couple of tests with a hand coming in and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, I'm not sure like if that's going to survive or not. It might do at some point, but remains to be seen. But I can make like the sprite. So the sprite that comes in the corner here, I can make it so like a hand comes in holding whatever the item is. If it's too small, so it's like a bullet, it's like there's a hand there that holds the bullet.
That.
Yeah, it's all stuff like that, right? If it's a hammer, then it would just be the hammer without a hand, sort of thing, you know, all the other stuff. But yeah,
could it just be a larger version of the item, like in the left-hand corner, similar to the pamphlets?
Could be, but it's the scale issue, right? Like I want to keep everything as consistent as possible. That's the thing. So if
you'd
there's
have
a
to
hammer
do two
there,
images.
Yeah, there's a hammer there, and it's like the size of you know, like the size of the bag, sort of thing. That's the sprite in the corner there.
Yeah,
and then a bullet comes in, and then that bullet's the size of the bag as well. It's just going to look weird, right? It's like, Jesus, that's a huge bullet. Like he's just like it's basically a missile he's putting in. Yeah, just like an anti-aircraft missile or something that he's putting in his bag. It's like, that's not a bullet, you know. Like, so I want to kind of avoid those sorts of scale issues. But for the bag itself, it's very much like as you see. So if you go up and down, then it goes through the different compartments of the bag, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah.
It sort of flips between them with little animations. So there's key items, there's your main bag, which has got all of your sort of small items that you can pick up in the world, and then all the readables are in the bottom one. And the bag sort of animates and shows like where those things are.
Great.
Sorts of things. That's the up and down. If you hit left and right, then it scrolls through all of the items that you've got.
Yeah.
And you can hit up at any time, like regardless of where you are, and it goes to the next one down.
I've just realised that you're doing something that other games don't do. And when you've got like a bullet, is one of them a rusted bullet and one of them's an old bullet?
Yeah, so there's an old rusted bullet, and then I've got one which is like a really old rusted bullet, which is literally growing.
Like moss or something.
Yeah, it's just basically to add some variation to the same item, and it takes like 2 seconds to make a new sprite for that stuff. So I don't understand why people don't do more of that.
Yeah, because I was going to say people would just be like ×2.
Right, and I can absolutely do that, right, and that's fine. But
yeah,
I want to avoid that. I want an old bullet and I want a really old bullet. So yeah, so people like
building.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can, same as before, you can hold items, and then you can come out of your bag and you're holding it, and then you can use it on whatever, or try and use it. And it's just like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. You can escape out of that and he stops holding it.
Cool.
As always, bite face is still there. You can still chew off your face.
Oh, good.
Which is very nice. People are getting worried because they haven't seen it in a while, but there it is. It's working fine. He's still there.
So how are the mechanics coming out, you know, in total? How much work have you got left to do for mechanics for it to be done?
Not too much. I've got like the main menu to do, which isn't hard at all. I've already got a pause menu, which that UI needs changing a little bit.
Of course.
Because
you and UI.
Yeah, I hate UI. It's terrible. Like that's my pause.
I hate
that's
UI.
It's resume. That's it. I might even remove like the resume bit and just keep it as pause. Like people know what a pause menu is. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Oh yeah, show us about the. Are you showing that with the porch or not? Is that going to be a surprise for people?
I'm going to show that another time. I think.
Okay.
But I know what you're talking about. No, I'll show that in another section because it's not quite polished just yet. But I want to make it so it's actually a part of like an interaction. Right now, I've just got the animation as a separate thing, which I'm feeling really good about it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to people discovering that one. I think by themselves is like, what the hell is this game? Like, why did that just happen? You know?
Yeah.
Kind of want that to happen. So.
Okay.
It's gonna be one of those moments.
Good.
Yeah. The other main thing. So before Christmas, it was all just redoing UI because like the bag UI was just it was terrible before. It was just the worst bag UI ever. It was not fun. As soon as I finished making it, the original version like a year ago, I was like, yeah, this is terrible. This is gonna have to get replaced. Like as soon as I finished it. So I'm glad that I finally got around to this because it just feels so much more included in the game. Like it's not a separate screen. You can still see your dude like going through his bag and stuff, and he's got little animations, and it might even change those animations based on what compartment he's in. So maybe he's rummaging through the front and looking at the like the readables and stuff. But yeah, that was all before Christmas. Then after Christmas, since Christmas, for like the last week and a half, I guess, I've been working on containers, which has been a whole other problem, which average gamers will just look at this stuff and be like, yeah, that's not anything to write home about. But coding this stuff, oh my god, like this stuff was just awful. So ignore where this is at the moment. So you can find large containers in the world. So in the game, so I've got it set up right now where there's a bin over here. There's a mailbox. There's other things you can look inside of in whatever case. It can be like a toolbox. It can be anything, right? A set of drawers in the house. And just for test purposes, but the set of drawers I've got here, it will go into this view, which you can spin this around and look around it, and it's clamped, so I can't go around the backside of it or anything like that. And you can.
We all love the clamped backside.
Oh yeah. Clamping backsides is necessary. Anyway. So yeah, you can, but setting this up so you can sort of highlight which container you want to look through. So in this case, like set of drawers, like choosing which drawer you want to look into. It's contextual, so the text at the bottom sort of reads out like which drawer you're looking at, and then you can open them and actually like look inside them and see if there's stuff in there, which right now there is. And
there's a paper.
I can expect this.
Letter.
Looks like a letter. I can pick it up. Goes into the read view. All that sort of stuff.
Oh.
I can come out and it's gone. Like it's such a simple thing, but people have no idea how much work this takes because there's so many like checks and if statements you have to do and switches and sort of thing. But yeah, you can come out and exit out. And then being able to then make a check when you go back into it and make sure that.
Make sure it's definitely not there.
Make sure it's empty.
So is that letter now in your inventory?
Yes. So if I go into my inventory, letter.
It's there.
There it is.
Wow.
Yeah, super simple, basic thing, but everyone like you have no idea how much work this takes.
Wow.
Yeah, and even though like I've got it set up, so like the gun and the gun and a couple of readables were there. I'm gonna restart it sort of show, but I've got in the actual. In the original version, which is just if you go into the porch like this, and you open it up, then there's the gun and other stuff in there. But because they were in my inventory, they were already registered, so the game was saying, like, oh, you've already got these in your inventory, I'm not going to pop them in this.
So they're out of the drawer?
Yeah.
Ah.
And then...
And you've just got... Right, okay. And then you'll swap out the paper for a letter.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it looks like a rusted pistol. If I pick this up now and come out... Bones Malone has no longer got his gun there. It's just because everything is constantly checking to see where items are being handled and stuff like that. Because if I pick up an item, I want the world to sort of understand, like, okay, that item is in his inventory, therefore it can't exist in the real world, so I've got to remove that. So just having that system in place is it's such a headache. Inventory management it's a whole thing, and being able to.
It's boring, yeah. But what it means is that you can go to town and like sprawl the whole map in stuff, and it's all going to make logical sense, so you can make and design puzzles that make sense to humans playing a human game, I guess. Yeah,
exactly. So there's a bunch of there's just a bunch of items in the game. That's going to be one of the core pillars. Like we've spoken about this in the past, like this idea of the game is just going to be completely filled with stuff that you can pick up completely, and 95% of it is going to be absolutely useless. But they're going to add context to the world and all this sort of stuff, and they're going to like, oh, that's interesting. Like, why is that there? Like stuff like that. But in terms of like solving the puzzles, it's only going to be like 5% of the items in the game which are actually going to be useful. And one thing which I don't like about point and click adventure games for the most part is this idea of like, okay, if I pick up an item and I've got this item in my hand, then I'm sort of stuck with this item until it's used, right? And the main character just instinctively knows, oh, this will come in handy one day. Like that's the line that they spit out, and it's like, okay, I need to wait for the right puzzle to come along before I can use X item. Like I don't want to do any of that. I just want to be like, yeah, it might be useful, maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe maybe like the puzzles have multiple ways of solving them through multiple different items that are in the world and stuff like that as well. Like I want to experiment with that a little bit too.
Interesting.
Which might make it too easy, but at the same time, like if everything is sort of baggable, on the table, then it might actually make it just astronomically harder. But it makes you think a little bit as well, because I'll still give hints to the player and stuff. And I do have that in the game already, where if you if you try and do something twice, so I mean we spoke about this before. It's like what you do weld these things on. So it's door boards. So okay, cool. Like it's door boards. Like what the hell do you do with those? But if you are stuck and you go and interact with it again, then it'll not only say the original line, but it'll spit out a hint line afterwards as well.
Yeah.
Pry them off with something. It's like, okay, cool. Like there's your hint if you wanted it, like, and that's you spamming it if you want to get it that way.
Yeah. So spamming will give you clues. So you have to do the interactivity to create the hints. Like it's not just like, oh, you've entered a box, hint.
Right.
You've entered a hitbox. He needs a hint, like most AAA games. We were just talking about that earlier.
Yeah. So in this case, it's like I need to pry off with something. Hammer, right? Like,
hammer.
That's what's going to do it. So.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But even then, like the door's locked though. So you still can't do anything with it. It's like okay.
Twist.
Right. So it's about like creating these, and that's what makes a successful puzzle in my opinion. It's like you think that you've solved it. It's like okay, cool. The doorboards are off. I can go in the house now, right? And it's like no, you can't. Like I can't. It's locked. Like what's he gonna do? Like this isn't an action movie. He's not gonna like dive through it or something.
No. Yeah.
And he even cracks a joke about that. He's like, yeah, look at me. I'm not. Like let's be honest. I'm not shoulder barging my way in. Look at me. It's like, he wouldn't be able to do that through a solid oak door. It's like, okay, I need to find a different way in, or I need a key, or I need like to figure out like maybe I can jump in through the window and stuff like that, And there's hint lines about that and stuff. But it's just creating these instances where it's like, okay, the player thinks that they've solved the puzzle, but there's another layer to it yet that you still need to solve.
Was that a Zombieland reference as well?
Oh yeah.
Rule number 22.
Yep.
Yeah.
Zombieland references. I've put in a reference for The Last of Us. There's a couple of references for Walking Dead. I'm going all in. Like this game is going to be a parody of every zombie game.
Every single zombie IP ever.
Yeah. Like I came up with this one the other day, and this like most people that are going to stream the game probably aren't going to watch this podcast anyway. But this is my Last of Us reference. Like after you get killed by Biteface. So he says, like, there's going to be voice acting. Excuse me, you can't go around eating people that are wearing jeans and a flannel.
Yeah.
Right. It means we're super important. But then he adds this throw-in line at the end. Unless you're a golfer, then I'm fair game. Which is just, like, it's a reference to
right.
Paul Joel, So it's just like, that's the sort of thing that I want to do.
Very good.
I'm messing with that stuff as much as humanly possible.
You need Walking Dead game as well. Like Clementine or something. Get a Clementine in the game or something. I don't know, somehow. Yeah.
I need because that's like every single zombie game, and I really want to make fun of that at some point. Especially is this idea of it's egregious how often it happens. But there's the main character who's the protective soul. Right, and then you get this sub character who's like the support character
that you protect them,
who's there as the protectee, and the main character has to look after this person no matter what. So, Walking Dead, The Last of Us, The Road, which is what The Last of Us is heavily like lifted from. It annoys me when people like don't realize that The Road is literally The Last of Us. The Last of Us lifted that whole book. Like it's just it's one for one. It's about a father and son going through the wasteland. And it's literally The Last of Us. Like if you're interested in The Last of Us, go read The Road or watch the movie if you want. The movie's a bit grim, but read the book at least. Like it's amazing. But like you'll find exactly where Druckmann got every single ounce of his inspiration from. So yeah, but if you're into that, but I kind of want to laugh at that point at some point. Maybe like he finds a doll or something that he feels like he needs to protect. But he's got like this thing that he's like attaches to his back. I need to protect this thing for the rest of my life, and he's just cracking jokes about it. I'd love
like
to
a Wilson, like a Wilson ball.
Exactly, right, or something along those lines. I'd love to have fun of that. But yeah, that's that's a lot of what I've been working on, is like these little subsystems, just cleaning them up, making them look like they're a part of a game and looking real. Like people that haven't seen the game in a while obviously notice the grass. That's completely been changed if you haven't seen that. Yeah, it's just making the world more interactive and fixing bugs, adding all these different systems for UX and things like that. But yeah, it's getting there, I think.
Yeah. Nice. So where can we find your stuff then? Where can we keep updated? Where's the best place to follow you?
Excuse me, I just sneezed.
Bless you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you can find me at Hillfort Games on various social medias. I'm sort of building an audience on Instagram a little bit more now, so I'm over there. I'm on TikTok, YouTube. You can wishlist a game on Steam, which is long gone. Give it a Google there, and you'll be able to find it. And you can support me on Patreon as well if you wish at Hillfort Games. But yeah, that's basically it. Like if you search Hillfort Games, you will find me. I'm all over the place at this point. But yeah, how about yourself? Like where can people find you and your shenanigans when you're getting up to stuff?
Yeah, I've got my game demo should be out soon, the next couple of months. Focus Find, wishlist that on Steam. I'm making another game called The Lanterneer, just on a side project. You can Google that. My company's Acrylic Pixel. I've just posted I've got a new website, Instagram, Twitter, Acrylic Pixel, YouTube, all that sort of good stuff. Yeah, and we'll talk about that sort of stuff on this podcast as well.
Very cool.
I'm sure.
Yep. Cool.
Great. So yeah, until next time then. Hopefully it should be next week. See you then. Bye.